You're going to be working. It's just not like every day you're doing something magical and fun. You're working for 8 hours and then you're coming home and you're tired and you have to feed yourself and then you have to clean and you have to do whatever else you need to do. I swear I was going to make this earlier, but there's just a lot going on right now. So, I've been working in Japan for about a month and a half now. So I wanted to give my thoughts. Everything's very fresh in my mind. I'm now starting to feel more comfortable. So I wanted to give my thoughts, explain what my expectations are, what expectations were met, and the expectations that were not met, what may have surprised me, what I was expecting, etc. So I arrived here in Japan on December 31st. I did the whole tourist thing for a week. That was the plan. I didn't want to worry about work. I just wanted to enjoy myself and just spend money, just live the tourist life. So I went around Tokyo for a week, enjoyed myself, and then I was training for another week in Shinjuku. So I was in Tokyo for 2 weeks. I was a tourist for a week. Then I trained in Shinjuku for a week. And uh, the training was, it barely scratched the surface. There's so much involved in teaching English. These eikaiwas, these English conversation schools, they hire people with no teaching experience, which was my case. I have experience with children, and I did some training for previous jobs, and that was it. But yeah, they felt, oh yeah, she sounds good enough. So here I am. Uh, but yeah, the training barely scratches the surface. It just kind of shows you how the classes are going to go. It doesn't really teach you how to teach. It's impossible to pick that up through 1 week of training. So I was so anxious coming out of that training. I was just like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? Is this going to be not fun? So I left Tokyo. I went to Inuyama, which is where I'm going to be am living. And we're at this point we were still living out of a hotel Airbnb type place. So I'm starting work and immediately I get thrown into classes by myself with no experience teaching. And it was awful. So that wasn't the plan. There was like a manager type person that was there that was going to team teach with me. So we were both going to teach the class together. Mostly I'd be watching and just kind of picking up things, but people call out, people are sick, this happens, and he couldn't. I think this manager only like team taught maybe like 2 classes that first day, and that was it. Oh my God. It was a train wreck. It was bad. Like, so it gets better, but those first 3 days of work were the worst 3 days of work in my life. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but like the level of anxiety that I had during that time was just, it was awful. And that's mostly just me with my anxiety. You're in a new country, new place, new language, new everything, new job. And then on top of it, you're working with little to no training and you're face to face with one or a group of people and you're the center of attention. And it was awful. So this manager did the best he could to train me throughout those 3 days. He was there. but he had to do his own things. It's just everything got in the way of him being able to team teach with me. So I did get that experience in, but not enough. So here comes the end of the week where I have off, or I'm sorry. So I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have off Friday, and then I work again Saturday, Sunday. I have off Monday. So this was Saturday and Sunday. I was by myself, and you know, it went pretty well. I remember after those 2 days coming home and thinking like, oh wow, I guess I'll be okay. So it was my anxiety just getting the best of me, but I pulled through it and then it's fine. I'm still getting thrown curveballs. I'm being assigned custom lessons that I don't have training for, and I actually had to call my regional manager about it to like say like this shouldn't be happening. Why? So they're still throwing curveballs at me, but for the most part, I'm pretty comfortable in teaching now. Um, Dealing with really young children is still hard. I have two groups of kids that are absolute monsters. They have so much energy. They don't want to learn. They're destructive. They run around, they scream, they throw things, they climb on things. They are awful. And no matter what I do, I can't control them. And it's to the point where I might have to, I haven't said anything, but I might have to, whether the staff speaks to their parents, I don't know, but they need to like control themselves. And kids are going to be kids, but it's only two groups of kids that I'm having an issue with. For the most part, the kids are really well behaved. Even the kindergartners that I teach, I'm talking, they're like, what, 5 years old, 6 years old. They have energy, but they're pretty well behaved and they listen to you. These other kids don't. So that's my main struggle right now. I was really not good with kids for a while until I found good games to play that incorporate the words they're learning and the grammar they're learning. I brought in origami paper that we were playing bingo on the back of. I made up a little board game that incorporated the lesson, and I found that I enjoy those classes so much more when I have a pre-planned game to play every week. Without a game, like you're gonna get through the classes too fast, and then it's gonna be like, oh, and then your kids are bored and it sucks. So with the games, you're having fun, they're having fun, they're still actually learning because of the repetition, and it's great. So that kind of brings us to right now. Um, it's all right. It's work. One thing I really want to say is a lot of people want to move to Japan. Like if everyone's just like, "Ooh, anime, Japan, I want to go move." Um, eh, eh, Understand that you are moving here to work. It's work. No one wants to work. Like it's work. You're literally doing what you were doing before in somewhere that's more fun. So, and work comes first. Work is your priority, and then you get home and you're tired, you have chores to do, this, that. So, doing the whole sightseeing thing comes last. So, I'm still at the point where I'm having a hard time incorporating, like, exploring Japan into my schedule. Um, so, on top of everything with this new job, new country, I'm also taking my master's for college. I'm taking online classes for my master's degree. So that's just something else that I have to do. But I'm at the end of the semester and everything's winding down. So today I'm actually going to go to Inuyama Castle and see some really nice historic buildings. But my advice to anyone who does want to come to Japan to live here and you're going to be working, it's you're going to be working. Like, and I did so much research. I had a lot of time to mentally prepare. So I knew coming into this that it was going to be like this. But it's just not like every day you're doing something magical and fun. You're working for 8 hours and then you're coming home and you're tired and you have to feed yourself and then you have to clean and you have to do whatever else you need to do. Another thing that sucks about this job, the one thing that I don't like is that it's second shift. So I go in at like 1 p.m. and then I get out at like 9 o'clock. And I hate second shift. I don't like doing things before work. I hate it. I would rather go to work early and then get out around 4 or 5. So that brings me to what I want the future to look like. Uh, I don't intend on staying at this job very long. Honestly, because I found my own apartment and I didn't get an apartment through this job, I can quit whenever I want. Um, this job was my ticket into Japan. Now I have a lot of options. So I intend on asking them for a third day off so that I can concentrate on school and just enjoying Japan. 2 days off isn't enough. So if they don't give me that, I'm just gonna find another job. My dream is to work in a public school. Okay, call me corny, but I want to live that little anime school life where you get to participate in like sports festivals with them, the culture festivals. Like, I want to be the English teacher there, experiencing that with the kids, seeing the kids grow up, etc. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to live out that experience. So, if I stay at this current job for a year, I'll be leaving after a year. I'm not staying longer than that, and no one should. It this is a foot in the door job, or rather, foot into Japan job, and it's you're not supposed to stay at one of these jobs. There's just more money to be made out there. So I was very spoiled by my two previous jobs. I worked at a hotel and I worked for a major travel company online where you book hotels and things. And at the hotel, I worked overnight. I like cleaned, folded laundry, checked people in. And while I was doing all of this, I had my laptop playing like movies, TV shows, whatever, YouTube. So I get to watch things all night while I do whatever. I was really spoiled. I got to snack when I wanted. Your girl was spoiled. And so after that, after I worked there for 5 years, I started working at this online travel company where I worked in an office for 2.5 years. And I could listen to music, I could listen to podcasts while I work, I could eat, drink when I wanted. So again, I was spoiled. And then COVID hit and we got to work at home. So then I was working at home for 2.5 years. And then while I was working, I had my iPad at my desk and I was watching anime while I worked. I was watching YouTube while I worked. I was doing whatever I wanted. So again, I was very spoiled. Now I have a job where I can't do any of that, where it's a very active, participating job where I have to be talking, engaged with another person or multiple people. I don't have downtime between classes at all. It's nonstop all day long. So it's work. So I realize that. But I realized that this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to work for myself. So that's why I got a bachelor's in graphic design and then I'm getting my master's in entrepreneurship. I want to own my own graphic design business so that I can work at home, anywhere, work when I want for as long as I want and make money to survive. And I want to work for myself. So if I want to do that, if I want to do that in Japan, I would need to figure out my visa situation. I don't want to work for schools forever. So I looked at visa options, and really, there's no viable option for a visa that will allow me to not work for anyone else and to only run my own business. So the only option is to become a permanent resident. That way I don't need a visa and I can work for however I can work for whatever I want. So I can be my own boss. Or I can not work at all if I have money saved. It's you don't have to do you don't have to work at a job that will sponsor a visa. So becoming a permanent resident is hard, very hard. So I made a 3-year plan, which I don't know if this will work out. But even if it doesn't, what I need to do in the next 3 years are still things that are really good to do, and I should be doing them anyway. So to be a permanent resident, you have to score enough points on this point card. It's like a game. Of course it is. Um, I have to look more into it, but I think after 5 years, you don't need to go by these points. You can just apply to be a permanent resident and you can probably get that, but I don't want to wait that long. So in 3 years, I will have graduated with my master's. In 3 years, I hoped to be at N1 level for Japanese. So learning Japanese consistently for the next 3 years so that I can pass the N1 exam, which will give me points on this card. I need to be a certain age and you get points for that, which in 3 years I'll still be at the low end where I'll still get a couple points. Your girl's old. And there's like a couple other things that I got points for, but the major one that I don't know if I can make this happen is in 3 years, I need to be at a job where I'm earning 6 million yen a year. 6 million yen a year, I forget, but it equates to probably like 23 US dollars an hour if you're working 40 hours a week. That's a big ask. Like that's considerable. Um, if I busted my butt and really like worked hard, performed well, and got lucky with the jobs that I'm upgrading to, I could make it happen. But in Japan, I've noticed, at least for teachers, that the pay tends to be low. Um, and that's because the cost of living here is so low. Like right now, what we're paying a month for our apartment equates to like 380 US dollars for a 3 bedroom apartment. So the cost of living's low, but then what you're earning at your job is also a little lower. So that's like the one stipulation that I'm dealing with in possibly getting permanent residency in 3 years is that I need to be making 6 million yen a year at whatever current job I have at the time. So that is what I need to do. Also, building my own business. There's no point in getting permanent residency if I don't have a viable business that is earning me enough to survive. So that's also something I have to do. So I have a lot of things to do in the next 3 years, all very good things that I should be doing anyway. So even if I don't get to where I need to be, I've still accomplished so much. Um, I'm not the type of person to be comfortable with whatever's going on right now. I'm always striving for more. I always want to do more. So I'm having goals also keeps me sane. So I'm really happy to have a set of goals in place that I'm striving toward. And gradually, as I'm getting money, I'm getting the apartment filled up. You can see in the back, I've decorated my room quite a bit. Um, we got a three-bedroom place because I wanted my own like room, office room, just PC room to hang out in. And then my husband has his own room, and then we have a bedroom. So I'll do a room tour maybe in like a month or so, and then I'll do an apartment tour in a couple of months. So you'll see that. But yeah, um, work is work. It was hard, really hard in the beginning, but now I'm getting very comfortable with everything. But also, I have goals and I don't want to keep working at this job forever. And if they don't grant me my third day off, I will be looking for another job because I get what I want because I'm spoiled. So that's the update. Until next time.